jump into your topic and let's hear it from you, man.
Okay. Well, I sort of got it from the Bible or whatever, 7 deadly sins.
That's right.
But what I did was compiled a list of 7 things that I've seen that could kill a deal. Number 1 is mold. Number 2 is termite damage. Number 3 is high moisture, especially in the crawl space. Number 4 is aluminum wiring, and we can expand on any of these. 5 is GFCI outlets, and that's ground fault circuit interrupter outlets that are required.
Yeah, break it down for us.
I will.
Go ahead.
I will. And polybutylene piping. We'll talk about that.
This is big stuff.
Yeah.
That can be a deal killer. And then, of course, unpermitted additions
That's
coming in at
huge
number
right
7.
now.
Mold has a real scare value, and I'm not saying that mold isn't a problem. You know, you've got the Stachybotrys, different Aspergillus. That there's a whole lot but there's mold in this room. There's mold. If you've ever
not all mold's bad.
Right. But most of the time, when you have a mold problem, a mold needs 3 things to grow. It needs air, it needs a food source, and it needs moisture. And the food source can be dust. So you really can't do anything about the air or the dust. It's there. It's the moisture that's usually the controllable component.
Right.
And when you have mold, especially any type of toxic mold, you have some sort of chronic moisture problem. You show me mold, I'll show you a moisture problem.
And that has to be tested.
Exactly. And that, I'm glad you mentioned that, Laura. That's exactly what I want to beat home on this, is get it tested. Termite damage. You know, there's a saying, if you live in the South, you either have termites or you just haven't found them yet.
Right.
And people moving from up north, they're terrified of termites. It is a manageable problem. Termites come from the ground. They return to the ground for moisture. They eat the spring wood. So, when you see termite damage, it looks like pages of a book. And there's dirt where dirt shouldn't be. But if you treat the soil adjacent or a bait station, most of the termite companies are excellent in the area, treating it and giving you a warranty or a bond, and keep that bond up, because typically homeowners policies do not cover termite damage, so that's why a bond is important.
All right, so let's talk about moisture, Preston. What's high moisture? I mean, we see this in the spring season, right?
Right. Well, we're talking about typically moisture in a crawl space. That's
Correct.
Trouble. There's a lot of companies out there that solve that problem. We didn't have this back when we all lived in ranch houses, because the distance from the front to the back of the house was so short. You had good airflow. But when we started building the McMansions with the 3-car garages, and we increased the size of the crawl space, and then you got that air conditioning duct under there that's a magnet, basically. It's like a cold drink on a hot day. And,
Right.
it's actually pulling the moisture, with the condensation, it's hitting the dew point. So, you've got to get that moisture level below 20% and keep it there, because if it's not, it's conducive for termites and for mold. If you're going to buy a house or sell a house and you've got an unpermitted addition, the big danger is that insurance may not cover if something goes wrong.
I was
fire,
told that they will
flood.
not, if the fire starts in the
Yeah,
unpermitted area, that they won't cover.
And if you ever have a contractor who wants to do work and doesn't want to pull a permit, you better run. Yeah. Now, when is a permit required? First of all, anything over $5,000 requires a permit.
Okay.
Second, if it's under $5,000 and it affects one of the major systems, the structural system, you're moving a support or putting a new support, has to have a permit, no matter the dollar amount. But any alteration of one of the major systems or anything over $5,000, should need a permit.